I'm going to share a first photo, mostly because it's really cute and it'll give you a good idea of what we're going to be talking about today. What's up, Jaden?
Violets.
Violets, yeah.
She's cute.
It was requested yesterday, and pretty much right after our class yesterday, when the rain stopped here where I am, I walked outside to check on my garden and make sure that the wind hadn't done anything crazy. And I noticed that all of the wild violets had flowered overnight.
Where we are, the planes of they're trying to get rid of mosquitoes. So planes were coming by, and then right after it snowed.
Yesterday?
Today.
Oh, today? Whoa.
Yeah, like they were trying to get rid of the mosquitoes, so they were using the planes. And yeah, like it snowed right after.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, snow will probably help to get rid of the mosquitoes too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And plus, they can bring other animals like frogs or other animals, dragonflies. Nature has its own helpers.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, mosquitoes. I mean, I don't like mosquitoes either. Most people don't like mosquitoes, but there are a lot of things that eat them, that need them, need them to survive, and they need them as food.
Yeah.
I'm just getting one more picture. I just took a bunch of pictures on my phone outside, and I'm trying to get them to transfer to my computer slowly but surely. The internet is always working hard when I'm doing these Zoom calls. It's very slow. There we go. Cool. So, do any of you want to give me any information on Violet that you know about already? I'm going to go to Elliot first.
My hair is the color of a violet.
Your hair?
Yeah.
you have purple hair?
Yeah.
Oh. It's interesting. It's hard to see. It's like is it like a really light purple?
Not that
Yeah, I can see it on the side.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. When did you get violet hair?
I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Yes, it's pretty much my favorite color. Anything that's close to violet, dark purple, dark purplish blue, it's definitely my favorite color in the range of my favorite colors. And I have also had purple hair before. Let's see. Yeah, Jaden, what do you got?
Oh, there it goes. We use violet for people make honey out of it. Stuff like that. And also, Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, people do that for lungs and stuff. Your liver, kidneys. They're very good for like cough or fever.
Cool. Yeah, that's good information. That is stuff that we will talk about today. I'm going to bring up our whiteboard so we can take some notes like we did yesterday. And Jaden, I'm going to keep you unmuted and ask you to repeat some of that information. Just trying to get organized here. I don't have much room on my desktop and I'm losing you all. There we go. So today we're going to do common wild violet and you all know that. The Latin name of the plant that I am talking about today is Viola sororia. There's a bunch of different violets, kind of common violets that are in the Viola genus, this genus. About 600 species, I believe. And the one that I'm talking about today is the one that is in my yard, and it's native to Eastern North America. It may also be native where you are in Michigan, right?
Yep, there's a lot of them by us.
Yeah. And it is just a really, really wonderful, lovely plant that a lot of people consider a weed because it's pretty good at planting itself in places, and it's a perennial. So it's a perennial and great self-seeder, which means that it comes back year after year in the same place, and it also sets seed in where its flowers are every year, and those seeds can kind of disperse themselves. They like pop open in this really interesting way and can replant, they can plant themselves and then keep spreading that way, and they'll just keep coming back. I love them. A lot of people love them, and a lot of people who don't understand them think that they are annoying weeds. Jaden, give me some of the other information that you shared.
They're good for like fevers. Birds and other animals like them too. Bees especially. They're good for like your liver and kidneys too. They're sweet when you eat them. They're very good for a lot of things.
Yeah. Whoops. Their flowers are sweet, and generally like mild. They're kind of mild smelling, but they smell great, but they're kind of mild in terms of flowers. And the leaves are good medicinal and edible. Let's see, we have some things in the chat here. Elliot asked Liv asked, what part do you eat? Yeah, so the leaves and the flower are edible. The root is sometimes, so I would advise you not to eat the root. Sometimes people who have a little bit more experience use the root for medicinal purposes, but some people have allergic reactions to the root and to the seed. So I would just stick to the flowers and the leaves. I'm going to bring up some pictures of what they look like, so that, because there are a lot of things in the early spring around this time that kind of look a little bit like violet, the leaves, that is, but I'll show you this picture first. No, this one's better. So this is a picture that I just took outside of a leaf, and it's very obvious. So the leaves are quite small, and they just look like hearts, right? They look like, oh, Liv, I can't see you. Hold on one second. There you are. Yeah, so they look just like hearts, and they have these little ridges on them, these kind of like rounded ridges, and they're pointed at the end. They're pretty vibrant, deep green color, and all of the leaves, I think this picture would be better to show you. Let me find the best picture. All of the leaves come out of one central location. So this is something else if you're learning about how to identify this plant and maybe it hasn't flowered yet. It's important with violet with the common wild violet to make sure that it all is coming, all of the leaves are coming out of the central location right out of the ground. There's no main stem that leaves are popping off of like a lot of other plants have. So that's just something to make sure of in case you're not sure whether you have the right plant. Always coming out of one central location in like a rosette. They call this a, I believe they call this a basal rosette. So I'll write that down. Leaves come out of central location, right out of the ground, basal rosette. And basal spelled B-A-S-A-L, that means coming out of the base, right? I keep losing you all. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna show you a big up close picture of the flower. Does anybody have any questions? All right, well, we're all good. So up close picture of the flower. Probably this is a good one. I just took this one outside. So this is one of the violets in my side yard. Another thing to note that I think is really cool about the violets in my yard where they are, something to observe when you're finding violets in the wild is, what kind of conditions are they growing in? So my side yard where I have all of these violets growing wild, I didn't plant them. They're growing mostly in an area that's it's completely shaded, right? It's a fully shaded area of my yard where pretty much nothing really grows except moss. You can kind of see this moss in the background. It's underneath a couple of really big trees. It's shaded by my house and my neighbors, some trees in my neighbor's yard. And the soil, like I keep talking about in my yard, is very sandy. So this plant has grown there by itself. It likes that place more than any other place in my yard, even though it's fully shaded and it's actually quite wet, right? It's a really like moist place in comparison to other places in my yard. And there is no violet anywhere else in my whole property. So it's nice to observe where things are growing in the wild, because that gives you an indication of where you'll find them in the future. So if I decide that I want to go wild violet foraging, if I decide that I need a ton of flowers because I want to make a particular recipe that I'm going to talk about in a minute, I would want to look in places near me where I am going to find similar conditions. I'm going to find shade, and maybe I'll look for mossy patches, and they generally like, I've found them a lot of times like along walkways, and that sort of thing. So it's important to just kind of think about that when you're trying to find plants, like where have I seen that before? What kind of place was that? Maybe I could find a plant, that same plant in another place that's kind of like that. So I'll put that in our whiteboard, some like places that they seem to like to grow. So like I said, they're considered kind of weedy plants. So they'll grow in a lot of different conditions, but it's nice to know of plants that like shade, because there are a lot of plants that are common to us that we know well that really like full sun. And I don't know about you all, but I live in a place where I have a lot of shade. So it's nice to know what plants can handle that and like it and thrive there. It can grow out of, can grow in sand, rocky soil. It really can tolerate a lot of conditions. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more. So the leaves are high in vitamin C and vitamin A, and they are useful in tea form. And so like the word is infusion. They're useful in tea as an infusion where you like boil water and then put some of the leaf into the boiling water, just like a normal tea. And they're good for treating headaches and cough and like with cough and mucus. So like if you have like if you're coughing up a lot of stuff, they're good for that. And then just as a general spring tonic, like you remember us talking about chickweed and talking about nettles and some of the other plants that we learned about at the very beginning of when we started this class. Violet leaves are really great just for helping to clear out our systems, clear out our body systems, our respiratory tract and our circulatory systems and things like that. So their flavor is pretty mild, so they're often used in salads, often eaten raw in salads or cooked like spinach, and they have a really mild flavor. So they can, they're just like other things that you often eat in salads. They're not like crazy bitter or anything like that, and they're really good. You just put like dressing on them or salt and pepper if you're cooking them like spinach, and they're yummy for you. So you want to make sure. Well, who wants to tell me a little bit about safety if you're foraging wild violets? I want some information from you all to make sure you know how to make sure you're safe if you're doing wild harvesting. Anybody have any ideas? All right, Liv, let's see if we can hear you. Not yet, keep trying. Huh, I can't hear you still. Maybe you should do the thing where just try a couple times. Not yet. You want to hang up and call back in?
Okay.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, wait. Okay,
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So what can you tell us about safety for wild harvesting?
I'm just guessing, but maybe like wash them off.
Definitely.
You do that with like a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Jaden.
You want to make sure, like when it comes to mushrooms, you want to know as much as you can on what it is to make sure you know that this is unpoisonous.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that my papa told me, that if you put mushrooms in boiling water, if the water turns black, then that means they're poisonous.
I don't know if that's true. It might be true sometimes, but I would be careful about letting that be your only indication. Because I bet
but there are more.
Mm-hmm.
It said something about them being hollow too, I think.
Some of them probably with mushrooms, yeah, but not all of them. Not all poisonous mushrooms are hollow.
Yeah.
All right, so definitely use an identification book or app or website. And anybody else have any ideas? I'm going to make a list of some things. Okay, so violets, in terms of ease of identification, how easy they are, they're pretty easy, but there are some other things that do look like them. So you definitely want to make sure that you know how to identify them, and you have pictures to look at, and maybe some people who have more experience than you. It's really a good idea, especially since you're kids and you're just learning. It's important that you go out probably with adults anyway, with your parents or somebody that your parents trust. Is a really good idea regardless. But if you're in your yard and you find something that you think is really cool, yeah, make sure that you use an identification book, or you look up photos on the internet. You want to make sure that you're not harvesting too close to anywhere where there could be a lot of pollution around. So avoid right next to roads, places where lots of dogs are walked, because they could pee or poop in those places, and you don't necessarily know what is going on there. There could be some contaminants there. I think that, washing off anything that you find is a really, really great point, Liv. I'll just say contaminated areas. And other safety points. It's a good idea to not eat too much at once, right? So if you've never eaten violet leaves before, you definitely don't want to harvest a ton and go home and eat like a giant bowl of salad that's just violet leaves. Because when we introduce new foods into our diets, we never know if we'll have an allergy, or if we'll have some sort of reaction. Even if something is safe for 99.9% of people in the whole world, it's possible that maybe it's not safe for you. So try a very small amount the first time is a good idea, after you positively identify it. I think I just saw something in the chat. Oh, there it is. Any animals that eat them? All right, we'll come back to foraging. We'll do a little bit more foraging if we have some time. But Elliot wants to know of any animals that eat them. I am not too sure about animals that eat them. Maybe squirrels. In my experience, I haven't noticed other creatures eating them. However, I did want to show you a picture of this really cool bee. I hope this is the good photo. This might not be a very good photo. But we'll start with this one. This is the violet miner bee. So miner, like spelled M-I-N-E-R, like someone who's mining rocks or diamonds or something like that. So the violet miner bee is a tiny little native bee, native to the places where the violet is also native. It's very small, and it has specific body parts that are specifically for getting pollen out of the violet flower. So it's a very specific, wonderful little native bee that we need, and that violets need in order to be pollinated so that they can make seed. I thought I saved another photo, but maybe I didn't, of a better photo of this bee. Let me check 1 second. Nope, I didn't. I forgot. So this is, does anybody know a little bit about native bees, or want to talk about native pollinators or anything to that effect? Jaden? Oh, there you go.
Does it just have to be bees? Because there are like, I wouldn't say thousands, but yeah.
Yeah, there are. Oh yeah, and Baron's showing us a piece of paper or a poster that has, does that say Bees of Oregon? Awesome, that's great. So yeah. You're absolutely right, Jaden, that there are thousands of beneficial insects out there, and insects that are positively affecting our environments. Some of them that are so small we have never seen them. Some that are nocturnal, so they only are, or some that come out only in the very, very, very beginning part of the day. We wouldn't see them when we're only out and it's like super sunny. Yeah, and a lot of things that look very similar to other, there are a lot of bees that kind of all look the same, right? So it would be hard for for people like us who aren't experts to really tell the difference, but there are so many different species out there. Bees just being some of the many insects that help to pollinate. So it's really, this kind of goes, oh yeah, Baron.
I'm kind of almost an expert because we have bees in our backyard and we've got that bee poster. We've been identifying them a lot.
That's awesome. Fun. Yeah, it is super fun. I think I've told you about the garden that I have in front of my house. Maybe I'll take a picture to show you tomorrow if I remember. It's mostly, so all the plants that I have in front of my yard right now they're all medicinal plants, so they're really good for humans, but they are both medicinal and beneficial pollinator attractors and beneficial insect attractors. So when the plants in my front yard flower, I go out almost every day. Right now I'm going out every single day and I'm checking all of the plants and I'm seeing how they're growing and what's going on. And when I get to see new flowers, I also get to see new insects. And it's really, really wonderful. All season long, I get to observe new species and see the different like sizes and colors and shapes and all sorts of things. And I take pictures as much as I can, but I only have a little phone camera and it doesn't do justice to all the really wonderful things I see every day. Jaden, what's your comment or question?
My favorite flower is actually morning glories.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm. Huh?
Why is that? Why are they your favorite?
They're very viney, so they can like crawl around trees and they grow very fast. I kind of wish they were a little bit invasive. That'd be nice.
Yeah, in my area, they are a little bit invasive, I would say.
I'd like that.
They're pretty crazy. They're pretty crazy around here, wherever they grow.
Yeah, we had some, but turns out they're supposed to go down, not up.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it at a hanging basket, then they'll grow. Not
that's interesting.
Climb up the pole. That's like peas. Yeah, I found that out the hard way by them not growing.
Interesting. Liv, you have a question? Your computer really doesn't like this app. I'm going to mute you and unmute you a couple times. Try again. Keep trying. Nope. Try to unmute yourself.
Now.
There you go.
Okay. Can we learn more about like the recipes for violets?
Definitely. Yeah, I was just about to show you something that, well, mostly just something that's really pretty, but something I'm going to do as soon as we're done with this class today is make a violet syrup, a simple syrup. So this is a photo of the color that is created when you take a bunch of violet flowers and you just put them in water. So if you are gonna, so to make a simple syrup, basically all that means is water and sugar, dissolving a bunch of sugar in water, in hot water, so that the sugar dissolves. So what you do to make this beautiful, very flavorful, sugary syrup, to add to like lemonade, or to add to maybe seltzer water, and to just like impart this beautiful color, is you take a bunch of violet flowers and you boil water, and then you turn the water off. When it boils, you turn it off the heat and put the flowers in, a bunch of flowers, and then you let them sit for 24 hours. You let them sit overnight, or for a full day, and then you strain out use a strainer to get the flower parts out and keep that purple water. And then once you have that purple water, you put it back on some heat, but you don't let it boil, because if you let it boil, it might actually change the color. It's like making a potion. You want to make sure that the temperature stays hot enough that you can dissolve sugar, but not boil the water, because if you boil the water, it might change the color, and you really want it to be that like beautiful purple. But once you get it to a slightly warm temperature enough to dissolve sugar, then you add sugar to it, and it can keep for like up to 6 months or something like that. And then you add it, like I said, add it to various things. Like I'm gonna try adding mine to seltzer water. Jaden, what's your comment? Oh, there you go.
I want it now.
Is it make you excited? I know the picture is so beautiful that it made me really excited too. I was like, I'm definitely gonna try that as soon as I'm done teaching today. It's really, really beautiful. So that is like a similar concept to what you could do if you want to make a cough syrup. So it's really violet cough syrup is a really common herbal remedy, especially for kids that have colds or that have bronchitis. It's gentle for children. And you take the leaves and you do the same thing, where you boil the leaves and then you add sugar to, or maybe honey. I a lot of times like to use honey instead of white sugar, to make a cough syrup, and that will also keep usually for about 6 months. You can usually tell it like starts to get bubbly and like weird when it's going bad, but I would keep it in the fridge for like 6 months. There is something in violets in I think a relatively small quantity, but let me bring up the whiteboard so I can. I only have about 5 minutes, just so you all know. I'm going to bring up the whiteboard to talk about some medicinal contents. So in leaves, there is a little bit of salicylic acid, which is one of the main components to aspirin. The word is precursor. So the salicylic acid is what makes up aspirin, and that's why violets can be helpful in helping us to get rid of headaches. There's also a chemical called rutin in violet leaves that is anti-inflammatory, and that also helps with our headaches. And anti-inflammatories will help with if we have respiratory problems, if we're coughing, if we have bronchitis, we have inflamed tissue throughout our bodies that's trying to get rid of whatever infection we have. So that's one of the reasons that rutin is one of the things that is also a part of the medicinal leaves. So what other things? So Let me see if I have other good pictures to share. Oh, so something you can do with the leaves, I'll talk about in the last couple minutes we have together, is to make an infused oil or a salve, which we have talked about. We talked about salves in a couple of our classes so far. So this is a photo from a blog website that I found of someone else's beautiful violet leaf salve that they made. And as a salve where you infuse violet leaves in oil for a period of time, and then add, you strain out the leaves and then you add beeswax to make this kind of like harder, this harder material. That's kind of like, I mean, I think you all know what salves are at this point. It's kind of like lip balm consistency. It's really good for dry skin and bug bites and skin irritations, just like comfrey, just like chickweed, that sort of thing. So it's really good for just moisturizing and helping with skin issues. So that's something else you can do. I'm gonna bring up in our last minute or so, I'm going to bring the whiteboard back up because I want to make sure that you all know I've been adding all of our videos, all of these class videos and resources to my website, and I'm not sure if you guys knew that. So if you want to go back and watch videos to relearn things or find something in a video that you forgot, or if you want to look at some of the websites that I have talked about in our classes, you can look at them on my website. So I'm going to put my website up here. So it's every single day I am putting these videos and some resources up on that website. So you can go to it and learn more, or share with your friends or show your parents or whatever you want to do. And I can show you, I'll bring up the website just so you can see. It's very basic, but hopefully it will be helpful for you all, because I want you to be able to keep learning and I want you to share these things. And it's a new website, so I'm going to just keep working on it over time. But here it is. So all of our lessons are here. So we have strawberries, all the way down. So we start with the most recent episode is first, and then we go all the way down to all the ones that we've learned. It's just loading really slowly. Comfrey, ginkgo, and I'm just going to keep adding resources as we go. So from yesterday, I have a link here to the Dirty Dozen and to our talk about misshapen strawberries and how to grow strawberries from seed. So just as an example, and you